Howdy, Pony. I need to be leaving rather shortly for courses because my professor is going to be mad if I miss them. But I figured I'd upload one more time this morning. And I'm just kind of excited for all this. Alright, so leaving off where we left, Silver Spoon, Apple Bloom, hanging out. Yeah, here we go. Oh, my Celestia, she's gorgeous, Silver Spoon said softly. Apple Bloom originally thought she was talking about Rarity, but when she turned and looked and saw who it was she was looking at, it took a bit to register who it even was. Is that Twilight? Apple Bloom asked, more to herself than to Silver Spoon. After a second glance, she saw it was Twilight. She looked so much more adult now, and the makeup, plus the added sparkles in her hair, made her almost as radiant as Rarity, if not more. Currently, she was lying down on a bench, reading a book. The librarian? Silver Spoon asked. Isn't she friends with your sister? Yeah, she just turned. Apple Bloom suddenly stood up in shock. Oh, my stars! That's right! Huh? Silver Spoon asked Apple Bloom in confusion. The whole reason why Schoolie wanted to do the fireworks because we needed a belated birthday present for her. Apple Bloom fell to the ground and held her head in frustration. What am I gonna do? Silver Spoon looked sideways and sighed. Come on, Apple Bloom, let's go. Go where? Apple Bloom asked. To get your present, duh. Come again? Silver Spoon shook her head, smiling. Come on, my much less fortunate friend, she said playfully before running off. Apple Bloom looked really confused, but she galloped after Silver Spoon nonetheless. After an hour or so, they arrived at Silver Spoon's mansion. Her parents, as usual, weren't home. Unlike Diamond Tiara, who was treated like a princess by her parents, Silver Spoon's parents were the kind that were never around, but gave her everything she needed to fend for herself, as she was an actually really independent pony. She rarely spoke of her parents, but Apple Bloom could tell Silver Spoon sort of had resentment for them. Silver Spoon led Apple Bloom to her room upstairs. It was as large as two of Apple Bloom's rooms. Afraid to touch anything, Apple Bloom stayed close to the door while Silver Spoon went to the dresser. She reached for a jewelry box and began rummaging inside of it. No, no, that one won't do, she said to herself. You know, you can come in. Oh, Apple Bloom jumped with a sudden acknowledgment of her, then slowly walked in. She had never had a rich friend before, so she felt a little out of her element walking into Silver Spoon's room. Silver Spoon giggled. You're funny, Apple Bloom, she said honestly, which made Apple Bloom's heart leap a bit. It may have sounded like she was making fun of Apple Bloom, but she knew better. Truth was, Apple Bloom was one of the few people who was honest with her, something that Silver Spoon really respected. She went back to her box of jewelry, and Apple Bloom was getting a little anxious, despite them being friends. So, what are you looking for? Apple Bloom asked. I'm looking for this, Silver Spoon said, suddenly reaching into the box and pulling out a small necklace with a silver chain and a purple gemstone in the center. Wow, that's really pretty, Apple Bloom said, knowing full well she sounded like a dork, but she'd never seen anything that pretty that wasn't hidden behind a piece of glass, forever out of her reach. You think Twilight would like something like this? Silver Spoon asked, shocking Apple Bloom. You mean you're willing to give this to Twilight? Apple Bloom asked, making Silver Spoon giggle again. I'm willing to give this to you, she said, almost giving Apple Bloom a heart attack, so you can give it to Twilight. Silver Spoon, I can't. This looks really expensive. I wouldn't feel right taking this. Apple Bloom, don't forget, I'm rich, Silver Spoon said with a smile. I can get another one of those easily. Besides, this one came from Diamond Tiara, she said as if the name were venom, and she only spent 50,000 bits on it. Silver Spoon, Apple Bloom said, trying to calm her new friend down, as she sensed a tantrum coming, something that tended to happen when she thought of Diamond Tiara, and how she had to kiss her flank constantly. Right, deep breaths, Silver Spoon said, taking a series of dramatic breaths, which always made Apple Bloom laugh on the inside, since she looked so adorable when she did that, and reminded them that they both disliked Diamond Tiara. No one could fake that much hate. So, Silver Spoon said when she had regained her composure, you're going to give this to Twilight tonight. I'll go with you, and if they ask, I'll say I helped you get it, which isn't a lie. I don't know what to say. She was definitely thinking this was better than spelling happy birthday with fireworks, and it was safer. Also, she wasn't doing this with an ulterior motive. She just wanted to give Twilight something special, and this was definitely special. Thank you. Apple Bloom reached for it, and Silver Spoon pulled it away with a smile. On one condition, Silver Spoon said in a sing-song manner. What condition? That you take your search for your cutie mark seriously, Silver Spoon said, so you can not just shut Diamond Tiara up, but so you can know what your future is. I mean, Apple Bloom thought really hard about what that meant, but she really did know what her special talent was, so in the end she nodded with a smile. She did really want to know what special talent was, my apologies, but so she nodded with a smile. Alright, Apple Bloom said, I promise. I'll take my search for my cutie mark seriously. Her hoof and Silver Spoon's met for a hoof bump, the necklace falling in between the hooves as if bonding them. It was getting late, so Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle got to work setting up the fireworks. They hid behind a bush near Twilight's bench. Are you sure about this? Sweetie Belle asked. Those fireworks don't look all that safe. Relax. Once we get our cutie marks, no one will care, Scootaloo said, almost sure this was going to work. It's a shame Apple Bloom couldn't make it. I guess she's deal with Twist, Sweetie Belle said, trying to cover for Apple Bloom. How long is that assignment? Scootaloo asked, more to herself. She looked from the bush and actually saw Apple Bloom approaching Twilight. Huh, there she is, said Scootaloo, surprising Sweetie Belle. You see her? Yeah, she's got a sort of box with her, Scootaloo stated, now eyeing Apple Bloom suspiciously. Excuse me, Twilight? Apple Bloom said softly as she and Silver Spoon walked up to Twilight. Oh, Apple Bloom, this is a nice surprise, Twilight said sweetly. And you're with Silver Spoon? That's rare. Not as rare as you might think, Apple Bloom said softly. Scootaloo was getting really suspicious watching Apple Bloom. What's she doing with Silver Spoon? Scootaloo asked, unaware that Sweetie Belle was trying to light the fireworks behind her. I, heard yesterday was your birthday, so I wanted to give you something nice, so she lowered her head, showing the red box on her head. Twilight made the box float over to her, and she magically opened it, gasping what she saw was inside. Oh, my Celestia! Apple Bloom, it's beautiful, Twilight said, pulling out the necklace inside. Scootaloo saw red. Where on earth did she get that? Scootaloo whispered harshly. How could you afford something like this, though? Twilight asked, not suspicious, just curious. Well, I may have helped her a little, Silver Spoon said proudly, then smiling at Apple Bloom, who smiled in response. Scootaloo was done at this point. That traitor! Scootaloo exclaimed. At the same time, the fireworks went off behind her. Twilight was so startled by the sudden noise that she screamed. At the same time, something scary happened. Her eyes began to glow white. She had a bright purple aura radiating off her. What's happening? Silver Spoon cried out when she and Apple Bloom backed away. I don't know, Apple Bloom shouted. Apple Bloom! Scootaloo called out, stepping out of the bush, a look of venom in her eyes. Scootaloo! Apple Bloom looked at her friend in fear, realizing that she was just caught in a lie. And even worse, she was seen with Silver Spoon, who Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo were still regarded as an enemy. Hanging out with Twist, huh? Scootaloo spat, walking over to Apple Bloom and Silver Spoon. Looks more like that Silver Spoon. Scootaloo, guys, Twilight's acting funny, Sweetie Belle shouted, catching everyone's attention. When they saw Twilight, she was randomly shooting magic at everything in Ponyville. The ponies outside were running around in fear, and anything her magic was hit was either destroyed, sent ablaze, or transformed. I can't control it! Twilight screamed, desperate to try to stop the flow of magic. What was happening to her? She was supposed to have more control of herself. I'll get help! Silver Spoon shouted, running off. The Cutie Crusaders backed away from Twilight, watching in fear as the magic exploded around her. Help me! Twilight shouted, now actually crying. For a minute no one did anyone, but eventually some pony ran up to her and in a moment wrapped their forelegs around her in a comforting manner. Twilight couldn't see who it was, but the pony had a sweet scent, almost like apples. It's okay, Sugar Cube, Applejack said softly. No need to fret, just calm down. Applejack? Twilight asked, now calming down. As she did, the magic died around her, and everything that was enchanted returned to normal. When the aura vanished, everything calmed down. The Cutie Crusaders all breathed out in relief. Applejack, Apple Bloom said, walking over to her little sister. I know what happened. Applejack let go of Twilight, who fell down in exhaustion. Silver Spoon explained it all to me. Apple Bloom looked over and saw Silver Spoon looking down in fear. She went to find her older sister? Either Applejack was close, or Silver Spoon knew that Applejack was the best adult to find in a situation like this. I'll take Twilight home, Applejack said. You can tell me more about it tonight. All right. Yes, big sister, Apple Bloom said, looking down in shame. Not only because of the fireworks, for once she didn't have anything to do with it. She was ashamed because she knew after this she had to face her friends, and if Scootaloo's expression was anything to go by, they weren't happy. Applejack put Twilight over her shoulder and trotted off. Silver Spoon walked over to Apple Bloom and put a hoof on her back. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, I'm fine," Apple Bloom said. "Ahem!" They both heard from behind. They turned around and saw Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle looking down in sadness, but Scootaloo glaring at Apple Bloom. Apple Bloom sighed and walked over to Scootaloo. "So, instead of helping us, you decided to go play with Silver Spoon?" Scootaloo asked harshly. "I wasn't. And you tried to undermine our present?" Scootaloo continued. "Do you realize what just happened? Thanks to your little incident, we didn't get our cutie marks." "Hold up. You think this is my fault?" Apple Bloom asked, now getting annoyed. "You didn't really think this was gonna work, did you?" "It might have, but now we'll never know. Celestia, are you taking this seriously at all?" Okay, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Apple Bloom finally saw red and returned Scootaloo's glare. "Am I taking this seriously? I could ask you the same thing." "Excuse me? For the last 2 years we have tried literally everything to get our cutie marks, and while the while these games are fun, this is serious business. I'm tired, Scootaloo. I'm tired of being a blank flank. I'm tired of being the ponies not to have our cutie marks, and I'm tired of not knowing what my special talent is. Playtime's over. It's time we took this seriously." "I am taking this seriously," Scootaloo shouted in response. "Unlike some pony who just want playing with her new rich best friend, I actually spent every day trying to help us find our special talents." "That's the problem. It's not working," Apple Bloom shouted. "We're not going to find our special talents playing these dumb games." "So now they're dumb games." "Pyrotechnics? Really? What made y'all think that was going to work?" "At least I'm trying something. I don't see you coming with any ideas. In case you didn't notice, you're just as blank as me. Or maybe you think she'll help you." Scootaloo pointed to Silver Spoon. "You don't know her, so don't you dare judge her. As for your information, she actually has her cutie mark. She's already gotten me further in 1 day than 2 years of your crazy schemes." Scootaloo looked genuinely hurt with the statement, then had a dark expression on her face. "Well, if you think we're holding you back so much, you don't have to stay." Now Apple Bloom was hurt. Did she really say that? After a second her anger welled up, and it was all she could think about. "Fine! I'll find my cutie mark without you." "Good luck," Scootaloo shouted sarcastically. "Keep hanging out with Silver Spoon, I'll bet you get a cutie mark in being a snooty brat." "At least I'll have a cutie mark." "Fine then, go. See if I care. Goodbye and good riddance." The two former friends turned away from each other and began walking in separate directions. Silver Spoon and Sweetie Belle looked just in horror and sadness at what happened. "I didn't want this to happen," Silver Spoon said, looking down. Sweetie Belle sighed. "No one said you did," she said before running after Scootaloo. Silver Spoon looked to where Apple Bloom walked off, and saw her in the distance trembling. She ran over and saw why she was shaking. She was crying. "Apple Bloom, I'm so sorry," Silver Spoon began. "It's not your fault," Apple Bloom said with tears. "You were just trying to help." "Is there anything I can do?" "Help me get my cutie mark the right way," Apple Bloom said, looking at Silver Spoon intensely. "I don't want no stupid cutie mark I don't deserve. I want my cutie mark, and I want to know what I'm supposed to do." Silver Spoon nodded. "All right, I will. I'll help you." They stayed there a few good minutes, not caring about anything else but each other. Right now, Apple Bloom didn't care if Diamond Tiara came out and saw them together, and honestly, she didn't think Silver Spoon cared much either. She just needed a friend, and, ironically, Silver Spoon might be the only friend left after what just happened. "I don't understand," Twilight said when she and Applejack got back to the library. "The only other time that happened to me was when I was a filly. I should have more control over myself now." "Those fireworks could scare the pants off any pony," Applejack reasoned. "I'll even bet that iron wheel guy'd scream like a little girl at being that close to him." "I've been scared before, but I've never lost control of my magic like that. What if there's something wrong with me?" "Look here, Sugar Cube, there ain't nothing wrong with you," Applejack started, frowning when Twilight didn't look convinced. "If you want, we can head over to Fluttershy's tomorrow and have you checked out." Even though Fluttershy specialized in animals, she did a bit of experience being a nurse, actually spending some time in classes a few years ago. She may not have been as much of a real doctor, but it was free to see Fluttershy. "I'd like that," Twilight said softly. "Good. Now I want you to get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow, all right?" "All right, Applejack." Applejack tipped her hat to Twilight, then walked out of the library. Twilight began making her way to her room, stopping when she saw that Spike was already asleep in his bed. She smiled at him and went back to her room. Inside, she took out another look at the prophecies of the old world. Did it mean something? Was her magic going out of control because she was prophesied